Alright, so in this video I will try to show you all the compositing thing that you need to know in order to create this type of scenes, and I will tell you all the secret. And if you're wondering about that, I'm using some sort of paid software. Actually it's not, it's completely free. This is called DaVinci Resolve, and you will get a free compositing tool within DaVinci Resolve that is called Fusion. So if you just go and click on this button, you will see that this is the compositing software that is in default in DaVinci Resolve. So you don't need any kind of other softwares like After Effects, Nuke, or there are so many different type of compositing softwares in the market. Nuke is also paid. There is a free non-commercial version. You can use it for your personal project, but when it comes to client or any kind of paid thing, you won't be able to use that. And some sort of After Effects also, you cannot use it commercially. But this DaVinci Resolve Fusion, you can completely use it commercially with the free version, and you will get almost 95% of the tools that requires to do all the compositing thing compared to other softwares. And if you're using the Nuke free, not Nuke, Fusion free version, then I will show you all the steps that you need to know in order to composite this type of shot. So this is my compositing layout, and you can see there. By default, your will be something different. It will be in the downside. I just changed the layout so that it will be easier for me, but you can do anything that or whatever you feel comfortable with. For my case, I'm just using this layout because it's more convenient for me. So the first and the most important thing is the renders that I got from the Blender. So if I show you my renders that I got from Blender, and that is where is that? This one. So this is the raw render that I got from Blender. And if I just increase the gain just a bit, you can see that this looks something like this. It looks good, but we need to refine a lot of things. There is no variation in the trees color. The trees are kind of a bit more saturated. They are not integrated properly. The building is also looking kind of less detailed. There is so much detail loss while doing rendering. I'm doing kind of 720p renders in this one, and that's why we are not getting absolute details. I will show you how to get all those details back, or how you can add more details in the scene. So that's the important thing. So the first thing is I render multiple EXR files, not multiple EXR files, multi-layer EXR. So if you don't know about the multi-layer EXR, I will recommend you to go and watch this video on my YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm putting this thing on my Patreon or on my YouTube channel, but we'll put the link in the description. You can just go and check the description there, and you have to watch that video in order to render your passes from Blender. And it can be any software, it doesn't matter. It can be Unreal Engine or DaVinci, or not DaVinci, Houdini, or any kind of softwares. But if you're using Blender, then you can just go and watch that video. So after rendering all the files, you will see, if you click on this layer button, you will get all the passes. I'm just using UV pass, normal pass, depth pass, and that's it. I'm not using so many different type of diffusion, colors, and all those type of things. The reason why, because in order to change the color of the things, you need a diffusion pass, a color diffusion pass. But we can directly change the color without needing that diffusion pass. The second one is the glossy one, and most probably will never gonna kind of decrease the glossy values of your renders. It's very rare, I would say. So I will recommend you to make sure that you do your roughness values properly inside Blender, and then you can render out. And there will be some other passes like translucency, not translucency, transparent passes, and all those type of things. And most of the time you never use them, so it's kind of a waste of time just to render all those type of things and never use them. So the most important passes are the normal pass, UV pass, and depth pass. These are the three main passes that you always have to render. There are also another one that is cryptomat. Cryptomat is basically you can select the individual objects of your renders without having any kind of issues. So that's the most important thing in order to isolate something from the background. So for example, I want to select this tree. Instead of doing the rotoscoping like manually, frame by frame, you just have to select this option with the help of Cryptomat, and it will automatically give you the mask of the things. I will show you the masking thing also, Cryptomat, in this video, but I will try to explain everything what I did in this one. So first one, I just get my main render. I connect that thing with the color correct node, and in this one I'm just doing some sort of color correction in the trees, you can see. Then there is a EXR file you can see, and this is called Cryptomat. So you can see This is Cryptomat, and in order to use Cryptomat, you have to use this Cryptomat node. You will not gonna get this thing by default. You have to install the Cryptomat, because in the free version of DaVinci Resolve, you won't be able to use the Cryptomat. But there is a way to use Cryptomat in the free version also. And in order to know that thing, you have to go and watch this video. I will put the videos links in the description, so it will be easier for you. At the end of this video, when this video will end it, you can just go and watch all those videos one by one. So for the Cryptomat, you just need this Cryptomat node. Just search for Cryptomat, press tab and Cryptomat. You will get this 2 Cryptomat node. Do not use the upper one. It is the paid version. The down one was the free version. You can use it in the free DaVinci Resolve. Then you just have to connect this one to your this thing, and you will see I'm already doing a selection over there. But if I just do a clean, and if I just put the arrow somewhere in the this area, and then if I press add, it's not doing anything because there is nothing. Okay, let me go and see where I can put the Cryptomat. For example, I want to select this building. We'll just click on this, and then I will click on add. So if I just go to the Cryptomat, you will see this type of selection, and when I press A, you will get this type of black and white mask. You can also go in this area, alpha, and you will get all this mask thing. Okay, so after that, I'm just connecting this thing to my color output, and then I'm changing the trees thing. So I'm just decreasing the saturation, not decreasing, increasing the saturation of the trees so that it can be brighter, and changing the color. If you want, you can also change the color completely like this, but this looks really unrealistic, so do not do this. You have to be really careful what you're doing. It's better to watch references, because in this type of trees, we have some sort of yellow in the trees also. So you can make them just a bit yellowish type tint, and you will get this type of yellow tint trees. So this is very convenient. You can do everything with this one. But for this one, I will leave it like this. Then I'm using the same thing with the another color node, and I'm fixing this area tree. So if I enable and disable this, by default, when I did my render, it was very like weird yellowish tint, and after that it become like this green. Just change the color and everything. And if you're seeing this thing like there is some sort of weird issues with the color and it is not behaving properly, then you can just go to the option, just enable this pre-divided post multiplied thing, and it will most of the time it will work fine. Okay, so after that I am doing the same thing, the tree variation. So I'm just adding more and more variation in the trees, just increasing some brightness so that it can look different. So this is just for the variation thing, and that's it. I'm using the same method in this one, the Cryptomat, and this is a node called wireless. So I'm using this wireless node because we have to use this same Cryptomat in the multiple areas. So instead of copy pasting like Control C and Control V everywhere, it's very inconvenient. So what you can do, you can use this wireless link, and you have to just drag drop your main file to the input. So just drag drop this thing like that, and it will automatically connect your this file to this one without having any kind of connections. After that, I just connect this one to the wireless Cryptomat. So after that, I did this fog thing. So I did the volumetric fog in this area. So you can see this. So in order to add this type of fog in your scene, you have to use depth pass, and we already have the depth pass in our scene. So just do a copy paste of your main this thing. You can also use the wireless, but I'm just copy pasting. You have to copy paste this thing there, and then you have to select the V channel. So depth V is the depth pass. So you have to select this one, or else it will not gonna work. And after selecting that, you will see something like this. And I'm just using a brightness contrast node just to get this type of look, so that I can put the fog behind the trees and all those type of things. Then I'm using a channel boolean. And why you have to use this, because so in the alpha channel, you can see there, when I click on the alpha, there is nothing. If I use a channel boolean, then you will see we have a alpha channel. So in order to transfer your RGB to alpha, you're using this channel boolean. So what you have to do, by default it will be like this, do nothing. You have to just make it red channel, and you will get your alpha there. After that, I'm just blurring out the alpha because we have very sharp edges in the boundaries, so it will just blend everything properly. And after that, I'm merging this thing on top of everything. And in order to get this type of color of the fog, what you have to do, you have to use this. You can basically use any kind of background node. I'm using this background blue color. I'm doing some color correction, reducing the saturation so that I can get absolute control of the things. And then I'm merging this thing on top of everything. I'm using this wireless node in the sky area. So you have to choose your sky, because the reason why I'm using the sky and blurring out this thing so that I can get the color of the atmosphere. That was the important thing. So I'm just using the sky image. I'm blurring out to 100 values so that I can get the color of the atmosphere. And then I'm merging this thing on top of my main background image. So we are getting this type of color thing. And if I just go to the operation, you have to make sure that you use over, do not use screen operation. Or not this one, sorry, normal. Do not use screen because the fog is kind of look very weird in the screen option. Then you have to use this wireless again. And this is, I think, empty. So you don't have to use another one. You can just directly connect this thing to a color output so that you can even control your color of your fog. Then I'm using another color just to get more control. I think you can do everything in one color node because it is more convenient instead of using multiple colors. And then you have to just merge it on top of your main render, and it will look something like this. So right now you can see there is some sort of halo effect going on in this area, and this looks really weird. But this can be easily fixed by adding another layer of fog, or you can just reduce the blur size because the blur is very high right now. That's why it is creating that type of issue. You can see reducing the edge thing, and you will get still this type of weird looking edges. I will recommend you to just overlap this thing with another merge like this, and it will completely fix your issues. There will be some sort of issue, but it will be not visible that much. So in this one, I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm using the depth map. I'm just copy pasting this upper entire thing, and then doing the same thing. But in this one, I'm just disabling the blur. You can see there, so that I can get proper edge thing. And there is another use of this thing, and that will be to increase the intensity of your fog. So if you think your fog is like very light in color, then you can merge multiple layers of fog to make it more denser. Then I'm just using a crop node because you can see the boundary box, it's pretty big and it will eat up the your resources. So it's better to use a crop, and then you will see it's gone. So this thing is done. Then we have the light glow. The light glow is basically used to add the glow effect. So in the bulb area. So I'm just doing the same thing. Okay, so this has nothing in there. I'm just using a cryptomat and I'm isolating the windows area because on that area I'm having the light sources. That I'm merging the stuff on top so that I can isolate this area specific with the help of Luma Keyer. So you can see there we are isolating this. Then after that I'm using an exponential glow, and then I'm merging this thing on top of everything. If you're not using this mask, what's gonna happen is it will glow up everything like this. When I'm using this mask, it will just specifically glow up the main area. So the thing you have to do in the mask is basically you have to get this cryptomat. We are getting it here, and then we are just blurring out. That's it. So that we are getting kind of a glowy effect. If we are not doing this blurring out thing, it will be very harsh. You can see there. So it's pretty harsh and it is not looking that realistic. But when we do blur, it looks like it is lighting up the whole room area. And this is very convenient, the blur node. After that, we have to do this normal map. So what is the use of this normal map? I don't think so I use that much amount of normal map in this. Yeah, I just kind of increase the intensity of the edges with the help of the shader node. So basically the shader node is help to relight your scene. So just use this. I am decreasing the ambient to 1, not decreasing, increasing. But if you decrease this thing, you can completely convert the daytime shot into a nighttime shot just by decreasing the ambient value. And you can do some sort of hit and trial with this. But right now I'm just increasing it. Then I'm using this channel boolean so that I can transfer my alphas. Just selecting the red channel there in the alpha thing, and then with the help of merge the Luma Keyer, I am selecting the specific range of the colors. So if I just increase this thing, you can see we are getting this type of edge. in lights in the trees area. And then if I merge this thing on top of everything, you will see that we are kind of getting some sort of light in this area. Right now it's not that much visible because you have to increase the gain just a bit more, but it will look very unnatural very fast. You can see there, it looks kind of bad. So make sure that you do this thing properly. Do not go too higher or else it will create very bad looking thing. And now you can see here having some sort of edge light. So in my case, I'm doing it like differently. I'm reducing the light of that area, decreasing the light intensity instead of increasing because it looks a bit harsh. But you can increase the light with this shader node. Okay, after that we are using the UV pass, and the UV pass is basically for to add the textures in the wall. So you can see all this detail. I'm using UV pass in order to get all this type of details. So how to use a UV pass? It's pretty simple. You have to get your main passes. Then you have to select your image thing. Then in this one, you have to use a texture node in order to use your UV pass. So when you use a texture, you will see, you will get this type of things. In order to get this type of noise, you have to use this fast noise. You can just search for fast noise and you will get this fast noise texture. Then you can change the value, whatever you want to do. If I decrease the size, you can see we are getting the dirt. You can use this thing as a dirt or scratches, any kind of texture. You have to just put your texture in this green input and it will automatically map everything on your model because you have UV pass. So after that, you just need a channel boolean node. Why we are using channel boolean? Again, we have to transfer our red channel to the alpha channel. So we are just selecting the alpha to the red so that we can use this thing as a mask in the color output, so that we can change the color or intensity of the edges. So you can see we are getting the all those type of edge detail. And the advantage of the UV passet is that it will automatically track everything for you. You don't have to do anything tracking or any manual working. It will automatically put the texture in the wall or any places where you want, and you just need to change the color, whatever color you want, and that's it. So that's the use case of this UV pass. And this is the same method I'm using CryptoMat. I'm using a wireless node to get the CryptoMat passes, and I'm just isolating the building area. And make sure that you are isolating. You have to make, when you're putting the merge node, you have to use mask input to make that thing as a alpha, or else it will not going to work. So that's the important thing in the merge node. So whenever you are using CryptoMat, always use the merge node with the mask operation, not operation, operator. Okay, so this is the main thing of the main house compositing. After that, we put the sky in the background. For the sky, I use this image. I just did some color correction, brightness control, and this type of things. Luma here to isolate some areas and merging, darkening some areas so that it can look good. Then we are using the shape 3D, and in the shape 3D, we are using this thing as a plane. So you can see we are using this plane, and shape 3D is basically the 3D system of the fusion. So you can put anything behind this stuff so that it will be perfectly match your 3D render scene. Because if you try to put this image directly behind your footage, your render, it will not gonna properly track, and you will see that your sky is moving and it is not properly tracked in. So you have to make sure that you put the sky properly. And the one thing that I will show you, the tip that I want to give you, is in the size setting, you need a really huge kind of size, because in Blender my scene was like pretty big. In meters it would be around like 3000 meters. So it's a very big scene, and in order to properly place the card, you have to use a very big value. So I will recommend you to use kind of 5000, 10,000, something very big, so that you can properly place the card. Because if you're using lower values in the thing and the size thing, and what is going to happen is it will not gonna properly track, and it will give you the movement in the sky. So it's not good. You have to make sure that you use very high values in the transform thing also. In the translation also, you can see my YZ and everything is like really huge, 2500, something like this, 1000. So you need a pretty high value in order to place the sky properly. So after that, I'm just merging it. I have to make sure another thing that your camera is there. So just export your camera with the Alembic, then import your Alembic in your Fusion. And how to import your Alembic? Pretty simple. Go to the Fusion tab there, import an Alembic. Then you have to just select your Alembic files, and then you have to import the set. Simple. Okay, so after that I just merge everything with the 3D render, because in order to put this thing your main 2D layout, you have to use this render 3D node, and you will get this thing here. All the 3D nodes are in the top area in this section. This are the 3D system of your DaVinci Fusion. So you have to use this render 3D in order to make it 2D. Then I'm just using a X glow, and you will not gonna get this X glow thing by default. You have to use the reactor plugin in order to use this. So I'll just put the link in the description how to install that thing. You can just go and watch that video. After that, I'm just using a lens distortion just to give that illusion of sky. And in the lens distortion, I'm just decreasing some values here and there and that. And after that, I am merging everything on top of my main render. And this is how it looks. And there is another thing I'm doing that is called light wrap. So light wrap basically helps you to give the light wrap thing. So it will properly merge your foreground with the background, with the sky properly. So always use this light wrap thing, and make sure that you're not doing too much, so it will look very weird in the edges. So it's better to use it very minimal thing so that it can look realistic. So yeah, that's the main thing, the first pass of the sky and the foreground. And after I did is a pre-comp. Pre-comp basically means you're caching out all the nodes, everything in one EXR file, so that it will be easier for you to easier for you to play back your thing, because it will get very heavy when you're using this many amount of nodes, so that you can get a good amount of performance. So when you do your pre-comp like this, you will get a very good amount of performance. And how to do this thing is pretty simple. Just search for a saver node, and then you just have to connect this thing to your saver node. Select your browser where you want to save your files, then go to the Fusion tab and render all saver. So it will render everything in your EXR files, and then you can load back that EXR file with the help of loader node, this loader LD, and then you have to just select your loader EXR file, just click on open, and you're good to go. And after that you will get your load files. So now if I play back this thing, it will be very fast. This thing is done. Now I just use some optical flow just to add some motion blur if you don't have to do this thing. The reason why I'm doing this, because I did not render in kind of motion blur, but if you render your motion blur with Blender or any other software, you don't have to do this. So I will skip this. Then we have something called characters. So in this area I also try to add some characters over there. So I just render them out separately, and with the same method and everything, I just try to put this character on top of this area. The things I did in this one is pretty simple. If I just show you, these are my character. I'm using the Cryptomatte to isolate the characters here. So these characters are rendered separately from the main files, and this is the thing. And you can see this type of masking thing, because you have to do this or else it will not gonna give the reflections, because right now you can see we are having this type of reflection of the body. And if I'm not using this masking thing, like this one, this masking, you can see this is blurry masking, then what gonna happen, it will not going to give the reflection of the characters. It will be something like this. It will be something like this. There will be no body reflection under this aid. So in order to give that thing, we have to use this Cryptomatte method to isolate the glasses thing. Then I'm merging that, and then I'm doing this sub things, and I'm also doing some sort of rotoscoping just to get proper areas. Okay, so this thing is done, and it will look something like this. And then after that there is nothing. I'm just using a blur node to blur out everything, and then I'm merging this thing on top of everything so that I can get some sort of diffusion thing. And this thing will basically help you to blend everything properly. So you can see everything is kind of blending properly. And after that I'm doing the X glow thing, some lens distortion, and after doing everything I just did some color grading on this shot. And I can also show you the color grading thing, what I did for the color grading. So this is the color grading version. Okay, so basically what I did for the color grading, this thing, and that's where the secret comes in. And the secret is you have to follow a proper node tree, or else your color grade will look very weird. You have to be very careful like how you're using your color grading, when you are doing any kind of color grading, you have to be careful about when you do which thing. So if you are doing one thing before the another one, that is not right, it will look very weird. So I will show you the exact workflow that you can use. So first of all, you have to create this type of node tree setup. In the first node, you have to use your balance. So for the balance, what I did is you have to see your graphs, and then you have to see like what is weird in this thing. So if you open your, like, click on this button, you will see this type of graph thing. You have to make sure that it is balanced properly. If your thing is looking something like this, it means you have too much green on your scene and you have to reduce your green. And how you're gonna do this, you have to go to your this HDRI palette, and if your thing is like too much in the green side, so you can see this is too much green, you have to pull it back in the opposite direction so that you can remove the green from your main footage. And you have to always try to balance this thing. That's your goal in the white balance. So there are so many times when you try to render something in the sunset time, it will be very yellowish tint. So in order to remove that yellowish tint, you have to pull this thing back from the yellow. So in this wheel area, you can see if I pull this thing back from yellow to blue, towards blue, then it will make your overall image bluish tint, and it will reduce your yellowness in your scene. So like this, you can do your white balance. Do not do too much. You just have to see that it is properly balanced. You can see the upper area is balanced, the red channel, the green, and the blue is balanced properly. After that, I just use a contrast. Contrast is just to help you to give that punch thing. I'm using this curve thing. I'm just lifting up the gain there and the highlights. The reason why I'm doing this, because if you try to do it like this, it will kind of clip your values, the black values, too much, and we have to preserve our black values. And the healthy value is like this 2 drops. If you put your blacks in this area, it will be good enough. So just pull this thing up just a bit, pull this thing down just a bit, so you are preserving your black areas and your highlights, so it will not gonna clip. And that's the advantage of this. And then you can just do your contrast change, do whatever you want to do with this, and you will see that we are doing a lot of contrast thing. After that, I'm just adding a saturation just to reduce the overall saturation of the things, because in reality, in real life, there is very less saturation in the environment, in the trees also. If you go and watch your outside area, if you have any kind of forest area or any kind of park, you will see the trees saturations values are not like very high, very green. It's kind of in the grayish tone thing, not too green, not too saturated. You have to make sure that you reduce your saturation just a bit. And I will always recommend you to use the HDRI palette in order to reduce the saturation, because if you use this primary use, it works differently. So it's better to use HDRI because it is very gradual with your image. So it will reduce your saturation, or if you want to increase also, it will give you very kind of cool and very satisfying looking gain compared to the desaturation. It will kind of, this is kind of, it doesn't work that well. So I try to always use this saturation value. So just try to increase or decrease according to your scene. Looking in your image, and if you're thinking that it is too saturated, decrease it. If it is less saturated, increase it. That's the thing. Then I'm using this parallel node thing. And how to create this thing, you have to just press Alt P, and then you can create this type of things. Okay, so in the highlight section, I'm reducing the highlight with the HDRI views. So if you click on this button, you will see the highlight option. See, it is only affecting the shadows areas. If you click on this button, you can see which area it will gonna affect. So in this node, I'm just reducing the highlights of the image, so you can reduce the sky and the several things. Do not do these things too much. If it is very high like this, like pure blown up thing, you have to reduce it to the range. You can see everything properly there. And then you can just do some light thing. Just play with this number, and you have to just make sure that you're making the image look good. You don't have to use this shadow thing. You can do everything in the one node. Then we have this density control. In the density, we have this density slicer. So if you click on this color slice, you can specifically increase or decrease the saturation of the things of the specific area, and this works really good. So for example, I want to change the yellowish tint of this area. I can just go to the yellow section. If I click on this, you can see it is isolating that area. And if I increase this thing is the brightness control. It will kind of light think how much light you want in that specific color. So if I increase this, it will give the illusion that it is kind of lightening up the room. And if I increase this slider, it will increase the saturation of that area. So this is very handy to kind of control the specific area of the scene. So for example, I want to change the overall green of this thing. I can just go to the green channel and you can see the trees are kind of selected there, and I can increase the light of the trees, or I can decrease the things. It is not visible that much, but you can see there it is increasing the light and the overall thing of the trees. So just play with these values. This is important. And make sure that you're doing everything in the same order that I'm showing you right now, because if you put anything behind of anything, like if I put the density in the first area, then you're doing the white balancing, it will not gonna work properly. The workflow that I'm showing right now is like the absolute, I'm not saying this is best, but this is the ideal way to do the things, because it took me a really long time to find this workflow thing. And you can just follow this thing and you can get very good results in a very short amount of time. So after that, I'm using this wrapper. I never use this thing, wrapper thing. Wrapper is basically this one. So you can basically change the color of or the tone of your image. So if you want kind of a sunset look, you can move it towards the yellowish tone. You can see we are getting this type of sunset look, but I never use this thing. So if you want this type of sunset look, it's better to do this thing in white balance. So if you go to your HDRI palette and if you increase it towards the yellow channel, you will also get this type of yellowish tone, and this is way better than this wrap thing. So I recommend you to just use this yellowish tone or any kind of tone. Okay, so after that we have this HSL curve, and this is very useful. Why? Because if you go to this curve option, you will have so many different type of things. If you go to the U versus U, you can control the specific amount of hues, and you can change it to different color. So I'll just show you. So if you click on this tree, it will select a point there, and if I just click on this U rotate and if I drag this, you can see I'm converting this thing into the reddish tone, and you can see this completely changed the look of the thing. Like it looks something like autumn time, and it doing this thing so well that it doesn't look unrealistic. It looks so realistic also. So you don't have to do too much. You can just do a bit, and you can see this is looking really good. The autumn trees kind of thing, just from this green tone to the autumn tone in just one click. So this tool is really useful. Always try to use this thing. It doesn't work that well with the glasses thing, but with the trees or this type of things, overall season thing, if you want to change the season of something or need some sort of variation in the trees leaves or something like this is very useful. U versus U. Or you can also change the specific color of the things. So for example, this is yellow. If I just click on this, I can make the bulb reddish or pinkish like this. But with the lights and all those type of things, it really doesn't work that well. You can see that it's better to get your light thing properly inside your 3D software, that what type of color of your light you need, or you can do in the compositing in the fusion tab with the crypto mats and all the color thing. But do not try to change this type of things inside color page in color grading stage. It will not gonna work that well. So for the trees or some sort of overall change in the season, the U versus U is the best thing. There is other things also that I want to show you. U versus saturation. So if you want to change the color of something, so if I want to change the intensity of the saturation of the green, then I can go to the green channel, or I can just click on this dropper and you will get the selection there, and you can decrease the value of the green. So you can see there, it is not desaturating anything. It's only affecting the green channel. You can also do this thing with the help of density controller. But you can choose anything, whatever you want to use. You can do this thing also in the density thing. But when it comes to this HSL curve, it's working really good with the specific color. Yeah, you can see there. It's kind of working kind of similar, but it's leaving some area green, not affecting too much. It depends what you want to use. Literally, there is no like right or wrong thing. You need to do these things too much. If you're thinking that your scene is too much like greenish in tone, then only you have to use this, or else you don't have to use that thing also. And we have this type of other things than U versus illumination. If you want to increase the intensity of the green values, luminance basically the light, how bright you want your thing to be. So if I just click on this area and if I increase this, you can see it is increasing the brightness of the trees. So if you're seeing this and if this is like too light, you can just increase the brightness and it will look very good. We are increasing the brightness of the trees without affecting anything, and it looks so natural, it looks so realistic, and it is not looking like that it is doing any kind of weird looking things, and it feels really authentic. So that's basically the use of the hue versus luminance thing. You can increase or decrease this. And again, I'm saying this in order to use the specific area, if you want to brighten up the specific area or lighten up, it's better to do in the compositing, because in this area you can see it is almost affecting the trees also, instead of just affecting this area, and because it's not kind of isolating this color only. And that's the kind of tricky part of this thing. Always try to do the overall adjustment in the color page and the precise control in the fusion tab. That's the logic behind everything. Okay, so after that, you will need this thing. I can just remove this. After that, I'm just using this trim node. Trim node basically help you to add more contrast. So if you watch your scene and if you're thinking like the contrast is not that good, you can just add the contrast in this node, or you can just go back to this one also. It doesn't matter, but I like to use this thing so that I'm not affecting anything behind the node tree. And after this thing, all the kind of look dev thing happens. So this is balancing thing in the beginning, and this thing is look dev. And what is look dev? Basically how you want your image to feel like. It's not dreamy, but it looks very aesthetic, and I want that type of look. So what I have to do is you have to play with the global channel. So for example, I want it to be kind of a bluish kind of tint. I can just move this towards blue tint, and it will look something like this. So I'm going from blue or yellow to blue tint, and I can also go to the red and this type of reddish tone. So right now this is not looking good with this type of scenery. Why? Because in nature we do not have this type of reddish tone light. But if you're creating some sort of Mars thing, like in the Mars or in the moon area, or some sort of something like this, some alien planet, then you can use all this type of colors: purple, red, blue, green, and all those type of things. But in my case, the yellow was looking really good. I will just leave it to the yellow. After that, this notes again for the fixes, and you can do all your fixes there. So I'm just using some sort of mask here just to isolate some areas. So I'm using this mask, ellipse mask. I'm putting this thing here. I'm inverting this, and then I'm increasing the brightness of this area so that it will create this type of very good looking volumetric type thing. So your eyes will be get focused toward this area more compared to the other ones, and it will really depend on you, so where you want your focus to be. Like in my case, I want the focus in this area and this main area, so that's why I put the masking in this. But for example, if you want something to be in this area, like in this tree, then you have to just put your mask there, and then you can just increase your exposure thing. Or you can also go to the primaries and you can increase the gain or left gamma gain, this type of things. So basically that's the thing. And then I'm using some glow thing just to glow up the scene more. Light rays. This is all the effects that I'm using here. This is light rays. This is glow, the glow effect. And you will get all these features in the free version of the Advanced series also. You don't have to be worried about this. Then I'm using this called blurriness just to add some sharpness. So if I just go to the sharpness thing, just to add some details over there. Do not do this thing too much because it will make it really bad. So I just use just a subtle bit of sharpness so that I can get a good looking image. And then green, so I'm using that Dehancer Pro plugin in order to add the greens. And then I never use this camera shake. It depends when I use, not never, but it depends on the scene how I want. And after that I just use this direction blur to give this edge distortion. And then I'm using this vignette effect just to give this halo effect. And that's it for this video.